I bought my best friend a fire extinguisher, and they were delighted. If it takes you a minute, it took me a minute even when I was reading it. What's going on, YouTube? The Gates of Oblivion starts tomorrow. Who could have possibly known the date that it was possibly going to be released? Not a clue. And there's some interesting information that is different than when we did our initial video, so we're going to kind of combine this video with also just some general like good event things, what you should farm, where you should go, where the daily quests are that I think you should focus on, and so on and so on. So that's what's going to be wrapped up in this little video here for you, because this will be a really good event. A lot of sets here are amazing, a lot of motifs here are amazing, and I want you guys to get all the goodies. So we're just going to kind of go through here based on what the information is. So you can see here that this is the beautiful Oblivion Celebration event. And it will occur from the 16th through the 28th. To participate, you need access to Blackwood, Flames of Oblivion, Walking Flame, or Deadlands, all of which can be obtained through ESO Plus, or you can purchase them separately. They note generally they go on sale during this time period. Also, I'm not sure if they are going to do that. So here is the big component. So I always think that this is the big stuff, the juicy things right here. So these are the boxes that you're going to get from doing different activities, and these are the things that are going to be in the boxes. That's always the real meat and potatoes of any sort of ESO event, because you're going to be farming those boxes on the daily, and you're going to want to be getting all these things. So throughout the event, you can earn a glorious reward box once per day each time you complete your first daily quest in either Blackwood or the Deadland zones. I'll show you later as to where that is. Or from the first Rock Grove weekly quest completed. You can also obtain a second glorious reward box once per day by looting the final boss of any Flames of Oblivion and or Waking Flame dungeons, which is interesting because that means that you can get a second box. Although, one of the other things is that you can note here is that glorious reward boxes will contain, I'm not going to read everything off here, but you can see crafting style, sellable treasures, one of the following motif styles depending on the type of content that you do. Now, this is a bit unique. Generally, they don't break down the motif styles based on what type of content you're farming, so I thought that was really interesting. Now, you might be wondering, well, is there a specific one that's, loot pool that's worth more? It's hard to say during these events because everyone's going to be farming these. I definitely think that the second group, the True Sworn, Waking Flame, Knights of the Silver Rose, and Crimson Oath, loot pool is probably worth more than the one above, and for that you have to do it basically by attaining your box through a dungeon versus going and getting it in the overland. You also have the ability to get the overland sets from there. The overland sets are really good for these zones. We'll talk a bit at the end, kind of once we've gone through our breakthrough, the specific ones to keep an eye out for. Companion gear, always amazing. The furnishing plans are also phenomenal for here. Don't sleep on the treasure maps either, because they are also fantabulous with amazing antiquity leads. So for those of you who didn't get a chance to watch my video on treasure maps, it'll be in the description below. But what's so good about these zones that you're getting treasure maps for is as you open the treasure chest, you have about a 1 in 3 chance to get a lead for a motif that's also worth a lot of money, and you can sell that motif. You see that they also have the motif chapters, and I'll show why they felt the need to reference that again. And in addition, from collecting those big boxes, you can see that you can get other boxes by doing all of these other things. So this is where it gets a little juicy. So I don't know why I keep using the word juicy. It's because I got an Instapot, and I don't know if you guys have ever used an Instapot, but like it really helps keep, I made chicken in it, for example, and it really keeps the moisture in it. So, I've used an air fryer, you use grills, ovens, and whatnot, but the Instapot, is a really good tool, I think, if you're really interested in actually getting something that really holds that moisture in the meat. So if you're looking for something to do that, get an Instapot. So here are the other things, though, that you can do, and these are relatively easy and will be super fast to farm, and it just is going to depend on your loot routes and what you really want to get during the event. So delve on world bosses. This is always relatively easy. Some people will just chill at a world boss all day, kill it, because there'll be 50 bajillion people. And then that's really about it. Now, the nice thing about the Deadlands versus Blackwood is there's significantly less world bosses in the Deadlands. Therefore, it's usually a lot more people chilling at them, just waiting to kill them. You can do the same thing with delve bosses, though, and generally delve bosses are a piece of piss. So you could just walk over them. Now, the interesting thing too is the dungeon bosses are going to be interesting because there's some really good dungeons. We'll talk about it at the end once we've gone through the information here. What I do like though is that the dungeons that are from the Flames of Ambition and Waking Flame dungeon bosses are really good to farm. You can think, Black Drake Villa, probably one of the best dungeons to farm in the game. It's also one of the easier dungeons to farm. It's got side bosses if you want to do them, but it's also a relatively fast dungeon. It does not overstay its welcome like some do. Treasure chests, safe boxes, probably a little bit more niche to farm. Barrels, crates, etc. is actually an interesting concept. Generally, I feel like they don't really note that as places to farm. What's interesting is there are really good places that you can farm barrels, crates, etc., but a lot of them are quest zones, so I'm probably not going to encourage you guys to go to those. Psijic portals and thieves troves are on the same mindset of, if you find it, great, but there's no Psijic portal loot route generally. But what I would say, though, is that harvest and crafting nodes can be something that you can easily do. Because these zones are going to be filled with people, it's going to be relatively straightforward for you to go and pick up these resources and get yourself a bunch of resources from these zones. So I can encourage you to do that. And you can see, too, that it still has all the little lovely jubbly pieces from the overland. You can still get all those little motif styles. And a dungeon set item will be given. So this is interesting. So if you do the dungeons, you can also get a chance to get dungeon gear. Now, this would be bound to yourself, obviously, but if you're trying to fill out your sticker book for Kinross, for example, it's just a great example of being able to farm it faster because, yes, for example, the drop that you're getting is not going to be curated. Jake, what's a curated drop? A curated drop is the developers going, we're going to give you an item that you don't already have, and it's not already in your collections. That's what a curated drop is. They do that when you kill a boss, and that's the easiest way to describe it. So treasure chests, these random times when they give you this stuff, this is not curated. But if you don't have it, then you can put it into your sticker book. You bind it to that little sticker book, bind it to your collections, and then bam. Now you will still get better drops when you do kill those bosses because they're still guaranteed to be curated. You also have a good chance, obviously, to get the furnishing plans, surveys. That's kind of the same stuff. And then, obviously, the other things there, too. So here's where you actually can get your event tickets. And I dislike when they do this because I think it's a bit goofy. But your first one will be for completing your first daily quest in the Blackwood Zone. And the other one is going to be for your first daily quest in the Deadland Zone. But you can also complete the weekly trial in Rock Grove, or you can slaying and looting the final boss in either of the dungeons. I don't like how they do this because I always feel like it's confusing to newer players because it's like, well, which of those things do I need to do? And it causes a lot of confusion, in my opinion, for people. But that's basically the heads and tails of what you have to do. You'll be able to get the bear mount, the second fragment piece of it. Everything else here is all old stuff. Don't worry about that. Hot garbage, unless you want pets. And you can see here that's where it's going to go. And that gives us the information. And here is where you can find those lovely jubbly daily quest givers for the Blackwood Zone. Just a quick shout out to the Blackwood Zone. We're going to kind of go piece by piece as to zones, why you should farm them, what's good for doing them. The reason why Blackwood is such a great zone to farm is there's a lot of resources in it, but also the Leowin prints, the plans, those furnishing little plans, they're going to be worth a lot more money than their Deadlands counterpart. Why? Because they're more beautifuler. Deadlands, it's really an acquired taste. I mean, it's literally based on a realm. It's based on fire and, brimstone and revolution and stuff. And Leowin is based on castles. A little bit of a difference, The number one set to definitely get here is the Frostbite set, but also the Deadlands Assassin set is fairly decent as well. Obviously, during the actual time of the market, it's going to be flooded with these pieces. So it's just more of a, kind of 411 to shout out, these are good sets. You should definitely use them if you're interested, buy them. Or if you want to try to sell them, you will probably be selling them significantly less than they're worth. But you're going to be getting a lot of them. And that doesn't take away that these are some pretty baller sets. And for the beautiful zone of Blackwood, you're able to get it in the Fargrave district. You're able to get your daily quest. Now, the pros of Fargrave and the Deadlands are, as we talked about earlier, very small. This is the actual zone that you go to, the Deadlands. There's 2 world bosses, as you can see. The cons are the item sets and things from here are not going to be worth as much. Unfortunately, the furnishing plans have been out for a significant period of time, and because of that, they're not worth as much. And you can see that I've actually already even gotten all of the sets. Now, I will note that a lot of people are recommending Hexo's Ward for that Endless Archive beautiful set piece. I'll even take myself away here so you can look at it. Basically, it gives you a damage shield. A lot of people like stuff like this because it allows you to continue to do DPS without having to stop to heal yourself. You can continue to crank out those DPS numbers. I don't necessarily know if it's something that I would personally suggest. I just like to note that people are buying it for that purpose. So this is why you could consider farming the Deadlands over Blackwood. For me, though, the best farm is going to be Black Drake Villa. The sets here are amazing, from Drake Rush to Kinross to True Sworn. It's an amazing dungeon. It's very fast. You'll be able to complete that sticker book in record time. I highly encourage you guys to go here and get these sets. Even as, metas and things change, it's always good, in my opinion, to just have good sets. And this is an example of a dungeon with good sets. So that's super easy to suggest. Not only are you going to be getting those, but you're also going to be getting a chance to get motif styles, which are also worth a decent chunk of money. But in addition to that, you're also going to be getting reward boxes that are going to be worth a lot of money each time you kill those bosses. So I can highly encourage you guys to do it, and the rewards will definitely flow in. I could also encourage you guys to farm Rock Grove. I think Psy is another one of those really good sets, but pretty much all the sets from here ain't too shabby depending on the different type of content that you are trying to do. I could definitely encourage you guys to farm Rock Grove. Even as somebody that hates trials like myself, it's still a decently fun trial to do. Although some of the mechanics are a little bit stupid. I always hate when you can't burn the boss and you get punished for doing it too quickly. Not a whole lot of that, but there is a little bit of that I find a little bit goofy. But Rock Grove is still a really good one. And mind you, too, we have the brand new system that you're going to be able to use to get groups. You're going to be able to find a group for trials, and you're going to be able to probably see a shit ton of people doing this once the event comes out. Most people right now are really focused on Endless Archive. But you can see even right now, people are looking for Kind's Aegis and Cloud Rest. And as soon as the event starts, this is going to be gearing up and switching to Rock Grove. But with so many things to potentially farm, what will you guys be getting during this event? Are you going to farm the other dungeons? Are you going to be farming resources? Are you going to be farming anything in between? There's so many different things that you can do. I always enjoy these events. I think that they're great ways to finish sticker books, get yourself some great sets, motifs, some furnishing plans, and the market always drops for people like me who like to have all the furnishing plans, even on things that they might never use. So I think this event is going to be pretty fun. Let me know what you guys will be getting in the comments below, because we are doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you have to do to enter is leave a like on the videos. That'll give you 1 entry. The second thing is just be subscribed. 42% of you lovely juvelies are subscribed, so thank you guys so much for that. And the third thing is a random word be flashed upon the screen. If you're the first person to comment that word, you will win. Thank you guys so much again, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.
And post-outro, thank you to new channel member Shannon. Probably one of the only names that I'll ever be able to pronounce correctly. Also, as a fun little side note, we will be starting our Ark Survival Ascended tribe with some of our ESO players. If you're interested, you can always message me on Discord or Band or Xbox or Facebook if you see these videos go there. Reddit, if you see them pop up on there. Pretty much post them all over the place. I'm a little slut like that. And so obviously feel free to message me if you're interested. I'm actually thinking about making a series on our progress that we make, doing supercut videos of things we accomplish, probably death compilations of how things go with the changes that they've made. But I thought, everyone wants to try to, do different things. And ESO is one of those games where you're kind of limited to 4-man content, 12-man content, and stuff like that. So this could be a fun way to kind of bring more people together and give us something to do in between our ESO grind. So if you're interested, reach out to me. The game should be coming out on Xbox and Windows sometimes this week, hopefully, but we don't have a specific date yet. So we'll see. And thank you guys so much again for your support, and I'll catch you later. Peace.